many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard, and now more than ever, you need to have a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. And it can happen as simply as thinking with the end in mind. I'm Marcia. I'm a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for your future exit. Because a business worth selling is also a business worth owning. And I want to share the strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something to share with you. I've put together an insightful and think outside the box live web class on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time. It's been specifically designed to help you learn how to turn your business into one worth selling, even if you aren't thinking of selling it yet. Why now? Join me and find out all the benefits that come with a sale-ready business. Register for free at exitwithaplan.com. So I'm excited to have my guest on today, Joseph Wilkins. Joseph is the founder of Pro Creative Studios back in 2000, where he and his team produced infomercials, TV spots, and web sale videos. Joseph directed thousands of videos for his clients, including Google, LinkedIn, McDonald's, Goldman Sachs, Chevrolet, and Home Depot, just to name a few. As viewing habits shifted away from TV, Joseph launched funnysalevideos.com, where he and his team creates attention-grabbing, viral-style videos that entertain viewers into action. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. With 2 decades of experience, I think he started when he was 10, and hundreds of millions of views, over 50 million in tracked sales, Joseph enjoys sharing his 8 simple steps any business owner can follow to drive immediate sales online on his podcast, How to Make a Video Go Viral. Joseph, I'm really excited to have you on Profit with a Plan podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So like I said, you started when you were 10 because you look incredibly young. So that's a great move. So
I'll take that. It's not true, but yeah.
Just keep talking to me, right? It's all good. I love the compliments, but so true. So, today in the business world, so many people are not prepared to do the shift onto video, right? They're still trying to do, Instagram posts and Facebook posts, and they're trying to write content and doing all this stuff, if they're doing that at all, with little or no results. So I brought you on today to help share with the listeners how we can really jump into video and make it work for us, pay off, right?
Yep.
And get it going. So tell me, first of all, how do you get so funny? How do you get great funny videos? I mean, the videos I've seen that you produce are fantastic. How do you get those? How do you find them?
First of all, thank you. That's obviously the ultimate compliment that somebody likes your work. I guess let me give just a little context to how we got to where we are today, because I think it's important for your listeners to maybe just, understand the journey that we've been through that have led us to say the best thing we can do with our time and energy right now is to make these kinds of funny videos. So, like you mentioned in the open, we started 20 years ago producing TV commercials, infomercials. These were straight videos, right? Nothing about them was funny. In fact, when our clients called us up and said, hey, I got this idea. I've seen this competitor's video. It's really funny. We want to do something like that. We would say, sorry, that's not us. Because the worst thing that you could do is try to be funny and end up looking silly. And unfortunately, that's what I would say 90% of the videos out there where people are trying to be funny, they don't go through the steps that I'll outline in today's show to make sure that it's not just, gambling on whether or not people will think it's funny, but it's actually gone through a system. But more importantly, is not making people laugh. More importantly, is making people buy. And after 20 years of doing this in lots of different avenues, I've never seen any kind of video that's repeatable that we can do for, client after client after client and have them come back to us and say, we got millions of views. And more importantly, we got millions of dollars in sales. And we have multiple case studies that, if you go to funnysalesvideos.com, you'll see all of them, where people have got results that aren't just what I call vanity results. Like anyone can go out and get a bunch of Instagram followers. I mean, there's the right way to do it and there's the cheap way to do it. You can buy followers. That doesn't mean anything. Right. What counts is what do your efforts lead to on the bottom line. And so just a real quick compare and contrast. Before we launched our Funny Sales Video brand 5 years ago, our biggest video that we'd ever got online had 100,000 views, which we thought was pretty good. Our very first Funny Sales video that we launched got 7 million views. Wow. And did $500,000 in sales for a very, very small, super niche audience. A lot of listeners will say, well, what kind of business is right to do a funny video? And my answer is,
and we're not talking about like political funny or things that'll change the view of whether you're liked or not liked, right? There's some good tactics with it, right?
Yeah, and I call it safe funny.
Oh,
it's nothing that's really going to offend too many people. I mean, by their very nature, funny videos are polarizing. So you'll always get some people that don't get the humor or don't like it, but it's kind of the 80-20 rule, right? If 80% of the people like it, you're onto something. But our most recent campaign, just to bring it full circle, is for a laundry detergent company. Now, that's not a sexy topic, right? It's not a funny topic. It's a commodity. Right. But with that client, we've created my personal favorite campaign that has close to 100 million views and millions and millions of dollars in sales. So these are the kinds of videos that can literally transform companies if you do it right.
Wow. I mean, that's a shift. Viewing, why would someone go view a laundry detergent, right? I mean, it's got to be a fantastic video.
And that's a great question. And the answer is the closer, and I don't want to alienate anyone that's listening. I personally believe that anybody listening today can improve the marketing results that they're getting if they follow these steps. Now, there's, the best way to do it, which is to go hire an agency like ours or a similar agency and spend, a decent amount of money to do it right. Or there's the way, pull out your 4K camera in your pocket, which is something I would have dreamed of having 20 years ago, but everybody has one in their pocket. And if you use some of these principles, I'm not saying you'll get 100 million view video, but you will get better results than what you're getting today. I truly believe, regardless of whether you hire a professional company or not. I'll talk about some of the steps that you shouldn't do yourself, that you do need to outsource, but I'll tell you where to find the people to do that on a pretty decent budget.
That's important because a lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs. They're in that growing phase of their business. They're striving to the next level. They're still profitable, but at the same time, they're watching their pennies, right?
Yes.
And so any way that we can do things and maybe cut a little bit of the financial corners helps out a lot. But I think what's even more important is that you have to do this. This is an absolute necessity in today's business environment for you to be visible. And how can you stop people from doing what they're doing to go, oh, what is that, right?
Yep. Version 1 is better than version none.
100%.
And I would say on all kinds of videos. Where I wouldn't say that is if you try to be funny without bringing in professional comedy writers. So go make, low budget videos, but don't try to make low budget comedy with no budget, because you really do need to at least hire good writers if you're going to go down the comedy route, which again has proven for my customers to be the best return on their investment of any kind of video.
Okay, so anyway, that's fantastic. You gave us a great lead up. Now you've sprinkled the interest and desire for us to know these 8 things. What do we need to know before you share with us these 8 things we need to have in the video?
Well, you need to know that what I'm about to do is run through what I normally do in about an hour or 2 hours in 30 minutes. So the cheat sheet is download the free ebook that will go into a lot more detail than we're about to go into.
Good.
And you can find that at funnysalesvideos.com. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you can download it.
Excellent.
So
excellent. Okay.
Should I jump in?
Yes, let's go. Let's bring it in and make sure that it's relevant to, the basic entrepreneur, and we're not LA Hollywood video producers.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, so
Perfect.
Step one is something that I'm guessing most, if not all of your audience are already aware of. That is, understand the marketing 101 principle of who is your customer. In other words, who is it that you're making this video for? Nobody would write a letter, walk to the mailbox, and then decide, who should I address this to? And yet that's what we do with a lot of our marketing. We write copy based on what we like, or what we think the product does, or what, the benefits that we created this business for, without really asking our customers, am I right? And a lot of people will say, well, how do I do that? And the number one hack that I'll give you is go out and read at least 100 customer reviews. Now, if you don't have 100 customer reviews, go look at your nearest competitor. There are reviews out there where customers are telling you why they like your product, why they don't like your product, why they come back for your product, why they refer your product, or what flaws it has. See, an unaddressed concern will never be resolved and lead to a sale unless you hit it head on. Now, I'm not talking about address every single concern. I'm talking about, again, 80-20, look for trends, not individual opinions. But after going through 100 customer reviews, you should have a pretty good idea of the messaging that needs to go into your script. And a lot of the times what we love and we see all the time is when on Facebook, when we launch these videos, people comment and they say, hey, the character in that video, that's me, or that's like me, or I relate to her. Well, guess what? We stole your lines and put them in her mouth, because we're literally stealing your comments from online reviews and other places that we do our data research before we ever put pen to paper. So understand who your customer is and identify the top few key selling points that are the buttons you got to push in order to get a sale or get to the action that you're trying to create. And that could be a B2B buying immediate purchase, a B2C buying purchase. It could be a B2B lead that you're generating. This doesn't have to be a final sale. It's just getting them into your sales funnel or getting them into your lead gen. Yes. Moving
them in the next step. You made a really valid point, because that is the piece that so many business owners forget. They have this like, I can do everything for everybody, and they're going to shoot to the world rather than going narrow. I had one of my coaches explain to me, he said, you should be so narrow that only you fit into that sleeve. In your client, the customer that you're working with. And it's so true. If you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
Yes. And a lot of businesses will say, but I have a lot of different kinds of customers and I have a lot of different kinds of product. Let me be very clear. This video is not a company overview video. In fact, it's the opposite of that. This video is a top of funnel first impression video with one message about one product to one person. So you gotta, if I was you, I would be thinking about what is the number one flagship product that I have, or what is the low hanging fruit that will get my ideal customer to respond to this video and get into my sales funnel.
Well said.
So anyway, I could go on forever about step one, but we're on the clock. So step two is what scares most people the most. Getting a blank piece of paper and start brainstorming.
Yes.
Now
the
my
white
tip,
paper, the cursor flashing. Yes.
The dreaded whiteboard, whatever the format that it takes. my advice to you is for these kinds of videos, our goal when we sit down is to come up with 50 bad ideas with no judgment, no, no thinking, no filter on your brain before you throw it out. And the reason why I say that is because oftentimes the worst ideas will trigger the best ideas.
Wow.
And when I say, again, for this kind of video that by its very nature needs to be, fun and different and energetic and visually hooky to get people's attention to watch it, this kind of video is typically anchored by, a big character who has a big problem. So those are the only two things you need to be worried about at the brainstorming phase is who is the character and what's their big problem? And obviously the big problem has to be something that is solved by the products or services that you provide. Right. So again, you need to get crazy, and the more people that you can get in that brainstorming session, the better. And there's no qualification for coming up with a bad idea. That's the good news.
Yeah, that's great.
Your delivery boy can come in, everyone in the company is fair game, or everyone in your family, or, if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whoever in your circle you can drag in will be valuable in a bad idea session.
Right. That's really good. And I love that you put the focus on a bad idea, because you just want to get them up on the board instead of having these perfect, one thing, but you just want to get them up there. So that way you have the information that you can start cutting and pulling off of. Love that.
Totally. And the first idea is never, in my experience, the best idea. As good as that first idea may be, even if that ends up being the idea that you go with, it will be improved upon by 49 other bad ideas. I promise you, something will spin off something that will improve that first idea. So that's step number 2. Now, we will typically say, as an agency, we come back to our client with, we're not going to share the 50 bad ideas. We're going to come back with 5 good ideas. And between us, we'll distill that down to the one. Now, how do you get there? That's not something I can say A, B, C, and you'll get it. It's a gut feeling, but you also, wherever possible, and I'll talk about this in step 7, but really it's every step of the process. You want to be making sure that the decisions that you make are validated by a test audience. Now, that test audience could be as little as, 4 or 5 of your customers that you shoot an email to and say, what do you think? Yeah, you just putting your finger up in the wind and saying, does that resonate with the person who I want it to resonate with? Because, you and I aren't going to get the same humor as our teenage kids. And so there's no point us deciding. You've got to test it and make sure that it resonates with them. Okay, so step 3, this is where we start the actual scripting. So we've got a good idea of our marketing platform. We know what the messages are we need to say, any objections we need to overcome. We understand this concept of the brainstorm. We know who our character is, what their big problem is. Now, this is where I say to solopreneurs, you want to spend a little bit of money to bring in some good writers. Now, where do you find good writers? Well, I'll tell you where I started is on freelance marketplaces like Fiverr.com, Upwork. There's a lot of online workplace communities where really talented people that work for some very big companies during the day like to supplement their income evenings and weekends by freelancing. So you're looking for a storyteller. Now, a lot of people are surprised when they find out on any given script, we have at least 7 writers that wrote that script.
Wow.
Because the wisdom of the crowd is always going to give you better ideas than the individual. It's like the TV show Millionaire. The ask the audience is always the best lifeline to use. And in the same way, you want this to be a collaborative process where everyone is making it better and better and better. So we start out with one script writer. Now he's working from another copywriter that's already written up the marketing copy points. So there's two. And that script writer is simply telling a story about that character and their problem and how they find you as the solution. And then, hitting on the key benefits that will convince somebody that they should try the product or solution or enter their information or whatever it is.
Okay.
So once you've got your first draft of the script, we go to step 4, which is add in the comedy, right? So up until this point, it's not funny. It may be entertaining,
okay,
but it's just a story. So then what we do is we hire, and I have a very good team that I started out finding comedy writers, again, on these freelance websites, or, I will watch
and you
comedy.
can just type in comedy writer or comedy copywriter, and someone will go, hey, I'm funny.
There's probably 50 people right now that are on Fiverr that are waiting for people to reach out to them. Now you got to weed them out, right? Look at their ratings, read their reviews, look at work that they've done before. You want to make sure that they're going to be, you give them the best chance of success. And these aren't crazy expensive people. I mean, some of them will work for $50, $100 an hour, and you only need somebody. You're not looking for them to write the script. You're just looking to say,
lift it up.
Spend a couple of hours, punch this up. That's the term they use, right? Punch up the script, add some jokes in, add some witty things here and there, put a zinger here. And if you got 5 different people that are all doing the same thing, and we work on a collaborative Google Doc, so everyone sees everyone's comments. It's like a virtual writer's room. And, over the process of about a month, and that's how long we typically take for a script that will go from beginning to end. It's about a month. You'll see every day that script should be getting better and better and better. So when you're adding comedy, you want to be careful of a few things. Again, make sure that you're writing to the audience. You want your comedy to be edgy enough that it's funny and disruptive, but doesn't go over the top and become offensive, but also doesn't go against the brand or detract from the message of the sale. I know that's a lot of different points to throw out, but it's got to come back to, does it further the sale? Not does it make people laugh? And there's a big difference. Some of our best jokes, unfortunately, we call it killing our babies, right? Some of the funniest jokes have to be cut because they don't further the sale, or they're distracting, or they're a little bit too edgy. And, Facebook will ban you if you go too far. And you also don't want to, again, be detrimental to the brand. So pretty much step 4 is just making sure before you move on that the script is not only communicating all of your key selling points, but that it's also resonating with your audience, that it's funny. And that's the number one question that I get is, how do I know if it's funny? Well, guess what? You got to show it to who you want to think it's funny. And so a lot of the time we will, when we're here in the office and people come in, other clients or anyone that fits the demographic, I'll sit them down and I'll say, can you read this script? Or, if it's at the editing point, I'll say, can you watch this video? And I'm not looking for what they say. I'm looking at their face. Do they smile? Do they laugh? Do they have questions after it? Are they confused? Do they have buying signals? Oh, where is that? How can I get it? How much is it? And so you really want to make sure before you spend the money and time to actually go into filming, you want to make sure that your script is nailing it, because a bad script won't get that much better with the filming. As good as your actor may be, you want to start with a solid foundation.
Okay, awesome.
So on to step 5. Step 5 is the production. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we start filming this thing. And you would think that as a person that's been in charge of a video production studio for 20 years, that I would say the most important thing is to, get a great camera and the best lighting and the best sound. And as important as that is, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing by far is casting. Hiring the right actor or actress as your main character and any supporting characters.
Okay.
Now this is where some people go off the tracks and say, well, I've got an employee or a friend of a family who did acting in college. That's not the right person for the job. This kind of video. Now, let me be clear. Marketing is like a salad. And I think that you should have all sorts of videos in your marketing funnel for all of your Instagram and Facebook and YouTube videos. You should have videos where you as the business owner or as you as the marketing executive gets on camera and talks. That's perfectly acceptable. It's not acceptable for this kind of video. You've got to have an actor who understands comedy, who understands timing, who has a big personality, who can command attention. And that I've only seen it done once where a CEO has been able to do that. And that was the Dollar Shave Club video that you probably remember from about a decade ago. What people don't realize is that that guy was actually had years of experience as an improv comedian in New York. And so what we do, and here's a power tip, auditioning doesn't cost a penny. We will literally go through about 100 actors for every role that we cast. Now, here's how we do it, and here's how you can do it too, and it doesn't cost a penny. In your city, there's likely some acting agencies, or in a city nearby. You want to go send an email with a portion of the script to those agencies, describe the character, do not describe what they look like, because you'll limit yourself. You know, if you say, oh, in my mind, this is a Caucasian blonde 30-year-old actress. Well, now you've just eliminated a whole bunch of people that have been way better for the role. So I never typecast physically. I'm looking for a feeling that I'm getting from this character as I see them reading the script. And so I'll give them some parameters, but then I'll let them send me auditions from about 20 of the people that I pick off of their website. So I'm first going to watch their demo reel. Most of them have these online. And then I'm going to pick out of the 100 or so, I'm going to pick out 20, and I'm going to give them a paragraph or two and say, send me an audition. They'll videotape themselves, just like what we're doing now, especially post-COVID. Every actor in the world has their own Zoom set up for auditions. Then we'll watch those auditions and we'll pick our top 3 or 4 choices. Because anyone can do a really great audition when they've got 20 takes in the comfort of their room and send the best one. But I'm going to be looking at how can you perform under pressure? How can you perform on the day? And then I'll have them, I'll do a live Zoom with those 3 or 4 people, have the client often in the same Zoom. And I'll ask them, can you do that line a little faster? Can you slow it down here? Can you put the emphasis on this word? I'm looking for 2 things. Number 1, can they take direction? But number 2, almost more importantly, what are they bringing to the script that wasn't written? What are they adding into the script? Because these actors are professional comedy actors, a lot of them, right, and they'll put their own spin on things. The process should get better as you go through each of these steps. It should be adding value and, entertainment on every level. And a lot of the time, some of the funniest lines in our commercials were never written. They were spontaneously added as we're on set. I mean, you probably heard stories about comedians like Robin Williams that, just completely went off script, and it's some of the funniest material he's ever had printed on celluloid. And so you're looking for those serendipitous moments. And that brings me to my second part of the production is when you're on set, whether you're doing it with your iPhone or whether you've got, a $50,000 camera crew, you want to make sure that you're not so focused on getting the lines and making the time, budget, schedule that you forget to allow for time to just let the actors play. So those are a couple of power tips. And then, obviously.
So question for you though. So if we're, this sounds like, oh my gosh, this sounds like Hollywood to me. So it sounds like a lot of moving parts and a lot of money.
Well, so not really.
How can I hire an actor and film them with my phone? Are they going to laugh me off the set?
Nothing I have described this far requires anything to do with the studio like we have.
Okay.
It's so far all we've talked about is marketing, writing, auditioning, and filming. Now, when we talk about the filming, there is the way to do with an iPhone. And, there are many, many, many tutorials out there that can go into, how to get best results filming with an iPhone. That's not what I'm here to talk about. It's mostly about, with that character, how are they portraying that script? So again, there is so many videos online about how to actually do your own filming. But I will say, when people are scrolling through Facebook or, being bombarded with YouTube pre-roll ads, the more your video can stand out and look different than the rest of the videos, the more people are going to sit up, pay attention, listen, watch. Visually, 80% of the people watching your ads will have their sound off. And so you've got to visually grab them. If you watch our videos, we actually film 3 completely different opening hooks, we call them, and we test which ones perform best. And so, the better you have a team that knows how to create visuals that are arresting, the more likely you are to get people to stop and watch their ads. If 90% of the other videos are filmed on the same, iPhone, which pretty much all of the images will look similar, then you're not going to stand out as much. It just depends on, what are the results that you want. But regardless, following these principles will get you better results than what you're currently getting.
Right. Okay.
All right. So step 6, editing. You've heard this time and again. Comedy is about timing, and timing is dictated by the editor. So yes, you can edit your own videos. There are apps on your phone that you can do that with. If you're talking about the results that, some of the videos that you've probably seen online, you need to decide, do you want to invest the money in hiring a professional editor, or do you want it to do it yourself? A professional editor will know how to take a line that the actor delivered a certain way, and is there a way to edit it differently? If you put the cut here as opposed to let the whole thing draw out, it might be funnier. If you split the line into, there's all sorts of editing tricks that can just improve the process and make it funnier. The other thing about an editor is, the number one thing that we make sure our videos do is almost overwhelm you, never let you get bored. And so you got to speed up. You got to literally cut out breaths, speed things up, cross cut, make people almost speak over each other. Because
right,
the
because
number
you
one
have
thing,
you have a limited time, right?
Yes.
I mean, these videos are how long often?
Well, a lot of people are surprised. They're 3 to 4 minutes long, our average video. And our longer versions, we'll talk in a set. In fact, now's a good time. Every video that we do, our goal is to create 32 different versions of it. And that may sound overwhelming, but when we film 3 different opening hooks to ABC test which one does better, we film 3 different offers. So one could be buy one, get one free. One could be get 25% off. One could be an evergreen version. And then we'll do a long version and then a half length version. We'll do square versions and widescreen versions for mobile and for desktop. And so we're giving our digital team all of the different assets for them to test and scientifically, based on data, find out which one is going to perform the best before we spend a lot of money promoting that video. Right. And so it's an art and a science to have an editor that understands, how do we edit this to get the very best results? People are still watching long content versions of videos. I mean, Netflix is still around. Right. The reason people stop watching videos isn't because they're too long. It's because they're boring. It's because they're irrelevant. It's because they don't add value. So if you can use these tricks that are outlined in my ebook and that I'm kind of glossing over, you have way more chance of grabbing their attention, holding their attention. And then the longer you hold it, the more likely they are to buy, because it's kind of like, Jerry Seinfeld's wife wrote a book about how to sneak vegetables into your kid's food. And that's basically what we're doing. We're telling a funny story, and then we're sneaking in sales messaging. And so by the end of watching that video, you're way more likely to click on that link, order that product, sign up, whatever it is. But a good editor will be able to create, a rapid flow that never feels boring.
No dead air, no dead space.
Exactly.
Love
So
it.
step 7, we've already talked about. That's wow. Testing. Make sure that you're constantly testing. You're testing your brainstorms, you're testing your scripts, you're testing your jokes, then you're testing the different versions of your edit. You're testing the whole way so that it's not guesswork. You're basing it on lots of opinions. And then step 8, last step, and this is the one that normally breaks people's hearts, is when I reveal the big ugly truth that pretty much any viral video that you've seen in the past decade that is promoting a company's product wasn't organically viral, meaning it was a paid ad. So don't think of these as I just got to create the video, upload it to YouTube, and it's going to go viral. That won't happen. It won't happen. These social media platforms are way too intelligent these days. And if you're using their platform to try to make money, they want a portion of that money. So I reframe it and tell people that's actually good news, because who wants a business model where you invest a whole bunch of time and energy and money in creating this video, and then, it's just by chance whether or not people see it? That's not something that's a repeatable business model that you can scale, that you can predict, that you can bring in inventory. What you want is to think about it more like if I was to say, I'm going to build you a magical vending machine that's full of $100 bills, but it costs $20 to use the machine. How many times are you going to want to use that machine?
Every day.
Exactly. And so when you see these videos that have millions and millions of views, you know that that's a profitable video because companies are continuing to pay that $20 to get it out there, to get those views up, because for every $20 that they're investing, they're getting more money back. So it's more of a business platform. It's paid content that converts at a higher return on ad spend. So that's the last step, is have a plan for what you're going to do with that video to get it out to the masses. Have that budget. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge budget. And we are just a production, the creative agency. We don't actually get involved in promoting the video. We have agencies that we partner with if our clients don't have that in-house. But any good digital marketer will understand what to do with these assets, these video assets that we create, and use them to get, in our experience, orders of magnitude higher returns than any other content that you have out there.
And I think
so those are our 8 steps.
I love them. And I think it's so important that we have seen, we've seen the high end in your 8 steps. We've seen the ability to do it, low end in the 8 steps. We've seen middle end on the 8 steps. And then you've honestly told us that you have to pay to be put in front of your ideal client. And
yes.
when you put in step 1 and you talk about having crystal clarity on that ideal customer, then when you're paying in step 8, you're paying to have that customer see your ad. The ad spend is often less than trying to rapid fire to everybody else in there. So I love the way you bookend both of these that really truly are essential to any marketing plan, by
yes.
understanding your client and then getting in front of that ideal client with a fantastic, funny video.
And that's a perfect way to wrap it up, to show that. And I'll give you a very quick final example of success. So that laundry detergent company that I mentioned, True Earth Eco Strips, okay. Up until when they hired us, they had been spending a lot of money, actually been pretty successful on their own, doing their own Facebook and YouTube ads. When we came in and did our very first video, which got 50 million views, what's impressive isn't the number of views. What's impressive is the click-through rate that they got from that video. So in other words, previously, all of their other videos averaged at about a 1% click-through rate, meaning for every 100 people that saw that ad, only one person clicked on it. When we replaced their creative with ours, their click-through rate doubled to 2%. Now that still doesn't sound very big, but essentially that did was doubled the value of every dollar that they were spending online. And so just think about these videos as kind of, you're still doing the same marketing budget, you're still spending, you're still putting them on the same platforms.
Right.
They're just going to perform at, in that case, twice as well as what you're currently running.
Doubling your return is a fantastic return. I mean, whether it's going from 1% to 2% or 10% to 20%, which is almost unrealistic, but it's still doubling. That's twice as much as you had before. So what a fantastic story, and pulling it all together for us, by just tweaking the way that the content is put out there. And I think we all need that. Give me an idea if we can do it by ourselves, or we can do it with help, or we can have it done professionally. What are we talking about there?
So obviously there's many agencies out there and prices will fluctuate. Most people have probably seen some of the bigger viral videos that have gone, gangbusters. And I know our mentors are the Harmon brothers. We've been through their mentorship program, and I highly recommend their courses to anyone. It's harmonbrothersuniversity.com. But I know those kinds of videos, they've publicly said $1 million plus for some of those videos, which is,
I was just going to say, they're not cheap.
No. So, obviously there's companies that are cheaper than that. We like to tell clients that our videos are tens of thousands of dollars rather than hundreds of thousands of dollars. So everyone's going to differ, but most of the videos that you see on our website were done between $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So that'll give you an idea, but some of them have also made $5+ million. So, it just depends on where you want to go to.
And the quality. And I think the details and all the attention that you explained in step 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, that were just like, wow, I never thought, to come in and hire a comedy writer, a comedy professional actor, to be able to take that to the next level. Because again, like you said, this isn't all videos don't have to be of the owner or of an employee talking. And some of these videos, when you bring in that extra person and the quality that's done, it's worth it. So wonderful.
That's what we've seen.
Yeah, apparently, the numbers are fantastic and the videos are fantastic as well, Joseph. So well done. Where can listeners find out more about you? You've mentioned it a couple times. Let's say it again.
Yeah, pretty much the one-stop shop. Just go to funnysalesvideos.com. That's where you can see our videos. That's where you can download our free ebook. And then at the very bottom, there's a little form that you can fill in if you wanted to schedule a free brainstorm session with me to talk about ideas for your campaign.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. All right, listeners, I hope you found an idea or two that will put more profits into your business. I think the video is the way of the future, and it's essential that you have a couple of different options. And this is just a fantastic option that, as Joseph mentioned, can bring in a lot of revenue for you. All right, so now more than ever, you need to have, it's important to have your business ready like you want to sell it. And don't forget to register for my new web class on how to turn your business into one worth selling, even if you aren't thinking of selling it yet. There are tons of benefits to having a sale-worthy business. And so go jump on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, register for free at exitwithaplan.com. You don't want to miss this class. And as always, Joseph and I would love to hear your feedback, your questions, your ideas. What funny sales video that you saw that impacted your life enough to purchase that you might want to copy? Comment on today's podcast and subscribe. Don't forget to. And as always, you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit. Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you. It's been fun.